Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we are going to be playing with Min H's Mono Blue Painter list. I made a few changes from their original deck list, which I guess I'll talk about once I kind of introduce the core idea. So in case you've never played a Painter deck before, never played against it, the idea is that when Painter Servant enters the battlefield, you pick a color. And all cards that aren't on the battlefield and spells and permanents are the chosen colors in addition to their other colors. And then you play Grindstone. Target player mills 2 cards. If those 2 cards share a color, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, looking at you, Painter, then you repeat the process. So this is a 2-card combo that infinitely mills out your opponent. And this has been a Legacy staple combo for a very long time. Traditionally, Painter is a deck that is in red, and you play red Elemental Blast, and you normally name blue with your Painter so that you can just like Vindicate or counterspell everything for a single mana. This version is not doing that, and instead it is playing a blue artifact shell, so we can play things like Emery to bring our artifacts back from the graveyard, Urza to gain access to a lot of mana as well as more constructs, and some counter magic as well as some card draw in the form of Thoughtcast. Now, the original version of this deck, I believe, had Thought Monitors as well, but I've been a little less impressed by Thought Monitor in Legacy than I was initially. I think in a deck that is like absolutely all artifacts all the time, Thought Monitor can be pretty good. But this is a deck where we do have some other things going on, right? Like we have things like, say, the Force of Wills and the Emerys that they themselves aren't necessarily artifacts. So I think when you're closer to Affinity and you're really just vomiting artifacts as quickly as possible, the Thought Monitors are good, but I'm just worried about my artifact count, you know? I don't necessarily want to be playing a 4-mana 2/2 draw 2 cards. You know, I want to be playing Thought Monitor for 1 mana, and I just didn't think that deck was going to do it. So I replaced the Thought Monitors with a couple of Sighs, which generally speaking I've been pretty impressed by. A 4th copy of Grindstone, which the original list didn't have, 1 Lion's Eye Diamond, and I forget what the final card I changed was, but I think those were the primary changes that I made to the main deck. The Lion's Eye Diamond isn't necessarily fantastic in the same way that it might be in like an artifact blue list that is playing Echo of Eons, but I wanted to have access to it as a tutor target off of Urza's Saga in case like mana ended up being a bottleneck for my grindstones. And you can occasionally do something else cute with an LED as well in these sorts of shells. Like sometimes like activating a Retrofitter Foundry in extra time or drawing cards with Psy will be worth like having access to this. And you know, you can get real cute with an Urza as well on that front. As far as the sideboard goes, we don't have any blasts in the main deck. The blasts have been relegated to the sideboard where we have 3 of them. It's possible that a Hydro Blast and Blue Elemental Blast split is correct. The donor said that they were having some trouble with the Delver matchup. Surprise, surprise, that deck's really good. So I have added in a couple copies of Ensnaring Bridge to the sideboard. The Delver decks have a handful of answers to artifacts, but generally speaking, not that many. And if I'm making a bunch of constructs and doing other threatening things, my opponent's artifact removal is going to be pretty heavily taxed. So I think playing a couple of Ensnaring Bridges is not a bad idea. It'll mean that I won't necessarily get some of the free easy wins via just smacking someone with a construct, but if the game goes long, I have both the combo route and smaller routes, like just making a bunch of Thopters with Psy and just winning that way. I think that's probably pretty reasonable. We'll kind of see how it is in practice. Other than that, I have a little bit of graveyard hate, some of which is tutorable via Urza's Saga, as well as a couple of generic, 1 mana, I need to kill that spells. Something else that I thought about for this sideboard that I didn't actually put in is Torpor Orb. I imagine the Death and Taxes matchup could be kind of tough. That's something else that I was thinking about, but it kind of felt to me like I got to improve either Delver or like the Death and Taxes and Doomsday matchup at the same time by playing Torpor Orb. And since the donor said, hey, Delver's a problem, I figured we'd try out Ensnaring Bridge. We'll kind of see how it plays. I think we can be a pretty consistent combo deck. That's part of the reason why I wanted to add in that extra grindstone. Cool thing about Urza's Saga is you play it on 1, you play a land, you play a Painter on 2, you play a land on turn 3, you have 3 mana to activate Grindstone, and your Urza's Saga will actually search up the Grindstone. So in addition to just having like turn 1 Grindstone, turn 2 Painter, turn 3 Activate, we will also have like Urza Saga plus Painter as something that just gets us a turn 3 Goldfish. So I'm excited to play this one. I enjoy Painter quite a bit, and I think the deck has gotten considerably better since Urza Saga got printed. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage content on the regular, and if you are a regular, throw me a like before we get started. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. If you end up wanting to try this one out or get one of your own decks on the channel, that information, as always, is available in the video's description. Let's battle. Alright, so we're probably playing against Death and Taxes. I am really lacking blue mana here. I have a Mox Opal, but I can't actually activate it. I have 3 dead cards in hand. I think I just mulligan this one. How is this one? This one, at least I can get Metalcraft on 1, and I can work towards Thoughtcast and try to do, like, Psi shenanigans. I think I'll keep this. I can't really go down the card immediately for a Force of Will. Alright. Ancient Tomb. Double Grindstone. There's the second one. I'll play Opal, but unfortunately this costs 2 mana right now, so I can't actually do this. Alright, there's the Plains, kind of confirming that we're potentially looking at Death and Taxes here. I think, because my opponent could just have Swords of Plowshares here, I think I'm actually just going to cast Thoughtcast and try to make my land drop here. There's a lot of upside if I do. I did not. But now I do have a Bobble for Emery. And I'll just bobble my opponent. Ooh, they have a Stoneforge Mystic. That pressure is not great for me here. My land was 1 deeper than I wanted it to be. Ooh, okay, they're just going for Spirit of the Labyrinth. So this is, each player can't draw more than 1 card each turn. So I can draw a card on my opponent's turn. That's totally fine with me. Yeah, this isn't so bad. So let's go 3 mana for a Psi, 1 mana for an Emery, and then I've dropped 2 legendary creatures in the same turn. So I'm not necessarily just playing poorly into a Caracas. A Caracas will still be quite good because it'll keep my Emery from activating, but hopefully I could do some stuff with Psi. Yep, we also have Skyclave Apparition to potentially worry about. Yep, that's all fine. Oh, get fucked, I guess. Yeah. Painter's good. Cast Painter. We'll see if we die to Solitude randomly here. So I guess I'll make everything red. And we'll activate and see if my opponent's dead. They do have the Solitude. Oh, that's a shame. Took a Batterskull out of their deck. So I will just also just have the option to... Ooh. That's annoying. How do I want to deal with this? Do I want to double block, kill that Skyclave, and get a 3/3? Take a body off the battlefield and force my opponent to commit mana to equip the Jitte next turn. I think I value this Psi. I'll just take the 2. I'm at a lower life total than I expected. Oh, that's also just insane. I think I'm going to try to get a Shadow Spear equipped on this Thopter. Oh, maybe I don't. I'll just let my opponent kill the Thopter. And then equip to my Psi. Yeah, that's fine. Could have gone for the attack first, but I think as soon as I go for the attack, my opponent gets rid of it. And just like that, Jitte is shut off. And I'll go for an equip here. I'm also not really planning on winning this game via combat damage at all. Alright, that's the Yorion to hand. Okay. That's fine. Don't know why you needed to give me the option to sacrifice artifacts to draw a card, but you did. And then I expect I lose a land here. Sure, that's fine. Now I can't play this out and just win in the same turn. Since my opponent just has Yorion in hand, I should probably wait here. Because otherwise my opponent just goes like land Yorion, Skyclave, get rid of the Painter. I'll just take my 5 damage here and just kind of accept that as a cost of doing business. And then hope to top deck a land. We'll see. My opponent may end up just like removing my Mox Opal or something. I don't know which card they value the most here. It may be my Pithing Needle so they can turn that Jitte back on. We'll see how carefully they're paying attention to my mana here. Taking the opal keeps me off of, like, land plus painter win immediately, and it also takes me off blue mana. Yeah. That's not great for me. Alright, there is a Force of Will. If I play this painter, I go down to 6 life, and then I am dead. Equip Shadow Spear, I go down to 6. Yeah, this is awkward for me. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the turn here. I'm dead to so many different things right here. So, for example, a Flicker Wisp sending out this Pithing Needle so that Jitte can equip to Yori and kills me. Yep, alright. I take 4 here, and I have to top deck a Soul Land. Oh, okay, they drew another land. So they're just gonna, like, land Yorion. And get rid of my Pithing Needle here, I suppose. We'll see which one they're going after. Yep, that's fine. So they can gain 2 life and kill a little critter now. So I do not have the mana required to Painter and activate Grindstone in the same turn. I will concede here. GG's. Alright, what do I want to board in for this matchup? Ensnaring Bridge is okay, but, like, Backlave Apparition is real. I guess I just try to tax that. I don't particularly think my Force of Wills are grand. I think I am trying to be the combo deck here that just tries to win as quickly as possible. Force of Will can protect me from, like, Solitude specifically. Dismembers and Ensnaring Bridges are both okay. Not, like, super in love with either of them. Got 4 slots to mess around with. I'm gonna go 3 Ensnaring Bridge, 1 Dismember. I just kind of need to stop the pain, especially when I have Ancient Tomb hands. Okay, what does this hand do? I think an awful lot of nothing. This is uncastable. This isn't really doing me any good. Stuff will get caught in my hand. Hey Phil, big fan of the contest. The podcast. Sweet. You're in a video for next week. I think I'm gonna go ahead and ship this hand. This hand is probably pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. And I think since I've got, like, a Construct Producer in hand, I'm just gonna bin the Ensnaring Bridge here. I think I will go... Yeah. 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 And let's see what this Emery hits. Ooh, a Grindstone and a Lotus Petal. That's not bad for a turn 1. And I can start making Karn Structs on turn 2. Okay. And my Emery lives. Emery living means I get a Lotus Petal this turn. I do think I am going to pay the life to, like, bank that Lotus Petal for later. I think that's worth it rather than just using a Lotus Petal this turn. Come here, my beautiful Karn boy. Alright, there's a 4/4, which I will immediately turn into a 5/5. Good stuff. Next turn, it'll probably be like an 8/8 between Grindstone, land, plus me making another Karnstruct. That's not bad. There's a lot of pressure, yeah. Although my opponent can just do something like play a Stoneforge, get a Cauldra, and then all of a sudden this becomes much less impressive. Sure. Alright. Citadel. Bobble. Do I want to bobble twice, or do I just want to put this Grindstone? I think I just want to put this Grindstone into play. I think that's worth it to me. Minus this. Go to combat, swing in for 9. My opponent doesn't block, at which point I will make a 1/1 and deal 10 damage on my 3rd turn attack. And now I'll go ahead and just draw another card. It is a Spirit of a Labyrinth that they're going to get. That's fine. Sure. That's a mom. I think you were supposed to just take 10 life for your 1-drop there. I'm going to draw my card, see what it is. It is a Sigh. Do I want to Grindstone and mill my opponent so they don't draw the Spirit of the Labyrinth here? Unsure. It's okay. I think I'll do that. Yeah, let's just clear that. Ooh. Took some goodies off the top. Alright, there's a Wasteland. Ooh, a Shadow Spear, sure. That's a way to try and stay alive. Here's the Cauldra. What? Really? Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm good with that happening. I'm just very surprised that my opponent has enough resources to get through double attacking construct here. Alright. So I do this. I play a Psy. Target my Bobble here. I cast my Bobble, which also gives me a 1/1. I'm swinging in for a metric crap ton of power. There's all this coming in. I guess this one doesn't fly. That can just chill here. So either one of these is lethal. Okay, another Stoneforge. Sure. That's a Batter Skull. So my opponent will double chump block here. That's fine. I'll just take those bodies. I think I will go ahead and cycle this. Yeah, your planes is fine. And now I've got some neat stuff that I can do. So like Psy's giving me Thopters, I can immediately turn those Thopters into 4/4s via Retrofitter Foundry. I'm unsure whether or not that is good. So I'm going to take 6 here. And then I presume my opponent is going to like play a land and play a Batter Skull. This is fine. It's a lot, but it's fine. I also can just straight up kill my opponent if I find a painter off of this Emery. Alright, I'm down to 10, you're up to 16. Here's the other land for a Batter Skull. Ooh, and there's another goodie. Sure. Okay. Not that big of a deal. So, do I want a 4/4? A 4/4 soaks up damage pretty good, I think I do. My opponent has yet another land, and they get to equip a Batter Skull to the Cauldron next turn. It's pretty bad for me. This interaction, by the way, is part of the reason why I wanted to throw a couple of Psy into the deck. Alright, that is a Seat of the Synod. I think I'm going to just start by playing this Emery. We're just doing this purely to see if I hit a painter. Keep this one. I did not. I hit another Grindstone, which is kind of whatever. Alright, so I'll play a land. I will Emery back this Bobble. I do have to pay 1 due to the Thalia tax. Ascend this, and probably this in as well. I can just make another one. Yeah, I'll send this in as well. That's fine. It looks like... Okay, so I'm getting 2 blocks here. My opponent will take 4. They'll put their Batter Skull in. I guess if they're doing it like this, they don't have the 5th land at the ready, which is good for me. Alright, so we'll clear all those. And now we'll go ahead and just keep that going. Flicker Wisp is scary. Flicker Wisp is always scary. I am gonna wait. But like, I really don't want to give my opponent a 5th land. That's super annoying for me. But Flicker Wisp is very good. I think I'm supposed to clear that. Oh, that's super awkward. This Flicker Wisp, like, kills one of these constructs or kills one of my blockers. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and clear that. I will take my draw here. Oh, that's a painter. Okay, so now all I have to do is just not die this turn. And then I just have a very easy kill unless my opponent's last card is insane. Okay, that's the 5th land. Alright, so that is a 10/10. I'll sacrifice my Thopter to make a 4/4. And then I am going to double block this. I need to play around my 4/4 being removed and preserve my life total a little bit. Alright, so those die. My opponent goes to 22. So I think they are going to be dead to both... Or no, they're not going to be dead to both damage and the combo. Oh yeah, I also just get to try to combo off twice. Alright, so there's a Painter Servant. Name Red or something. Yeah, okay, yeah, there's the concession. Good stuff. That was a little tight. Opponent brought that back more than I expected. Okay, when I am on the draw, do I want an answer to a turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic? I could play either Force of Will or Surgical Extraction to do so. My Thoughtcasts also become a little bit worse on the draw because they don't have as much time before things like Thalia and Spirit of the Labyrinth come down. Yeah, let's trim that. Oh, sorry, this is... One Dismember is already in the deck. So I could do this, or I could play a couple of Force of Wills on the draw. I could see playing a couple of Force of Wills on the draw. Although my blue count is incredibly light right now. This is 11 blue cards, not counting, like, painter turning things into blue cards, since I've, like, boarded in Dismembers and boarded out, like, my Forces and my Thoughtcasts. So if I board in Forces, I really need to board in quite a few of them. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, unsure. I think I'm going to rock it without the Force of Wills. Force of Wills are something that can pretty easily get stuck in my hand for ensnaring bridge situations. And I already have 2 Dismembers in my hand that could get stuck. Yep, this is a turn 3 Goldfish. This hand is totally acceptable. And we'll see if my opponent starts on like a Vial. They start on a Relic. That's fine. Wasteland is the thing that I don't want to see. I have a Grindstone in hand naturally. I don't necessarily have to play Urza Saga out on turn 1. I think I'll hold it for a turn. And just do this and just increase the chances that I can actually just play my Painter on turn 2. Alright, opponent has an Urza Saga of their own, which represents a Pithing Needle, which is scary for me. I'm hoping for another Darksteel Citadel if I can be picky. No such luck. I'll just play my Urza Saga, Gamma Painter, and hope to spike a land. There's so many things that disrupt this right now, though. Just name red here. That at least represents blue blasts. My opponent's Urza Saga ticks up. Will absolutely not trade. I'm taking that damage. Down to 17, and my opponent's holding up mana. Okay. I mean, this allows me to attempt to go off. So if my opponent had a removal spell, that was one of their situations where they could have tried it. I'm going to attempt to go off in their upkeep. I guess this point of damage is free. Yeah, I guess this is free. That brings my opponent to 19. And again, I really have to try here before my opponent can attempt to get a Pithing Needle out of their deck. Yep, I mean, that is what it is, right? I lose my Painter. And now my opponent gets a Pithing Needle and shuts off this Grindstone. And the rest of what I've got going on here is really quite weak. I'm not getting any constructs out of this Urza Saga. I'm in fact about to lose this land. Oh, they got an Aether Vial. Hot damn. So you're telling me there's a chance. I just get to try to combo off again. Yeah, I just get to float mana here. Grab an LED. Here it is. Play my land. Play a Painter. Name some color. 100% going all in here. Just totally good with that. I'm not gonna let them untap here. Discard, Grindstone, target you. Can you answer it while tapped out 2 turns in a row? Fuck me. Oh my god. What the fucking savagery. That was supposed to be the no, okay, GG's. Good god. Yeah, sure. I'll exile something from my graveyard. All right, can I just rip a Painter followed by a land to make up for that? Ensnaring Bridge isn't bad. And the Vial just ticks up here. My opponent doesn't need anything else. I also think my opponent is supposed to crack their Relic of Progenitus because, like, they have me dead in exactly 1 turn. I think they're supposed to try and solidify that. Well, we see if they have a Flicker Wisp or a Skyclave Apparition or something. Otherwise, I can sit here for a while and try to draw a Painter. Oh no, okay. Gonna say floating mana there is weird. I think they thought they were 1 turn ahead of where they were actually at. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, this is the issue here. Every blue card I draw is a card that I actually can't, like, get out of my hand currently. Okay, that's not that big of a deal. 4. Okay, they stopped some cards. I'm gonna mill my opponent. I'm just gonna try to, like, take their Cauldras and stuff out of their deck. Well, their top card was a Solitude, so that feels like a great success, because I think if they Solituded me for the 3rd time in a row, I would have just lost my shit. Okay, there's a Pithing Needle on Grindstone, which honestly I'm a little surprised they didn't just do the first time around if they had access to that, because it's just it's so safe to just have this sitting in play. All right, we're chilling. I am stone cold dead to any sort of flicker wisp effect. Oh, is this it? Yeah, that is Recruiter of the Guard for Flicker Wisp or Skyclave. I lose Ensnaring Bridge, and then I will die. Yep. All right, I see the writing on the walls. GG's. I mean, we lost to Solitude plus white card, followed by Solitude plus white card, two turns in a row. Like, can't be mad about it. All right, round 2, I just create an Urza on turn 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. It's a little weird because I give up a lot of resources to do that, but I think I'm just good with it. We'll go land. Storm is 1. Storm is 2. Storm is 3. Guess I have to do this in this order, technically. Play Urza. Urza makes me a blue mana, which I use to play a Grindstone. I have 4 power in play on turn 1, which I'll turn into at least 5 power on turn 2. Oh, don't lightning bolt me. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just didn't want to lose this construct before I got the opportunity to lightning bolt. That would have been kind of a big deal. Preordain might be indicative of something like Sneak and Show or Storm. I mean, it could be some sort of Delvery mid-range bullshit as well, but no. Oh, I'm actually kind of pumped about that draw. That's just one more artifact, and one that doesn't really require me to do anything fancy here. Hit you for 6. Opponent is at 14. They are facing down lethal next turn. Yeah, I mean, like, if you got the sneak attack plus the spirit guide or something to activate it, like, you've got it. All right, well, there's the sneak attack. But they're passing the turn. I also have a Pithing Needle in my main deck, I believe. I get to just go, yeah. Create another 6/6. If my opponent is trying to get cute and do Grizzlebrand stuff, they have to do it right here. Yep. Yeah, okay. Shadow doesn't make me unblockable or anything, does it? No. Trample and Lifelink. So these things are going to be 7/7s. Yeah, so my opponent didn't draw any cards in response here. So I think I am just going to Pithing Needle Sneak Attack. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just have 5 blue mana for a Force of Will. I think I'm just going to pass the turn, let my opponent draw 7 with Grizzlebrand, and then Force of Will their Show and Tell if they play one. I guess I should have played out this Mox Opal to play around a Daze. Guess that's a thing I should have done. Okay. GG's. Ensnaring Bridge is great here. Force of Negation is great. Hydroblast is playable. What don't I want? Everything in my deck is reasonable, minus maybe Shadow Spear. I'm just always going to fetch a Pithing Needle or like Grindstone or LED or something over that, I think. But that's my first cut. I think I'm going to trim an Urza. It's a little hard to cast in a matchup that's going to go quick most of the time. I don't really want to trim any more blue cards if I can avoid it, because I'm bringing in Force of Negations as well. Maybe I junk Karn. I think most of the time I'm going to win off like either the combo or Urza Saga. Am I confident? I'm pretty confident that I don't need this. And then at this point, I do think I need to trim one of the blue cards. I'll trim like one Thoughtcast. Size aren't exactly fantastic, but they're another way to win the game if I stick an Ensnaring Bridge in one way or another. This gives me a Pithing Needle on turn 3, as well as just very aggressive constructs. This hand is medium, in my opinion. Is the medium hand good enough? It might be. Like, with Seat and a Lotus Petal, these constructs are big. Opponent doesn't get to pay a lot of life. I think I'm going to mulligan this. I have 6 counterspells plus Ensnaring Bridges to look for. I'm also not impressed by this hand either. Like, this is most certainly far worse than my previous hand. This is 5. This is a turn 2 kill if I randomly draw a Painter. Go to 4. Like, it's a bad hand. I have Force of Will, but no blue card to pair it with. I have Grindstone, nothing to do with it. I'm gonna go to 4. This is my best hand of all of the hands that I've seen so far, I think. I think I'm just going to keep my mana and my painter servants rather than taking... oh, right, this is 4. It's a land then. I guess Metalcraft is kind of hard currently. I'll go ahead and do this. I did not board in blasts, right? I'm just going to confirm I did not board in blasts. So we'll just name something crazy like green with our painter. All right. And cantrip away. I'm much more scared of sneak attack currently than I am of show and tell, because I have the bridge. I won't cast the bridge. That'll just sit in my hand. Oh, well. That's a boon. That is just absolutely a fantastic draw. One of my best possible ones, in fact. This allows me to potentially... I shouldn't have 6. This allows me to potentially have a turn 3 goldfish. 2 mana. 3 mana. You want to show and tell? I have brought a bridge to class. Yeah. Alright, that's an acceptable draw. I will just play this into a daze. Like, I need to... I don't necessarily need to keep cards out of my hand. But, you know, there are smaller threats that my opponent could play. Now I just need a land. Oh, my opponent straight up conceded despite the fact that I didn't have the extra land. Holy shit, my opponent should not have conceded. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 5 turns before they were actually dead. Whew. Although maybe they just conceded because they did not board in answer to an ensnaring bridge. Either way, GG's. Okay. My opening hand here is kind of whatever. I can play Ancient Tomb Painter, Bauble, Opal, Needle on 1. And that's something. And then I can just, like, draw to a Grindstone or an Urza Saga for an eventual kill. That's fine. Is this better than a 6-card hand? Like, essentially ignoring my 6-card, my 7th Mox Opal. 7th card Mox Opal. Blah, words are hard. Would I keep this on 6? I would absolutely keep this on 6. Oh, this one's tough. I think I'm going to keep this. I have 8 fantastic draws. One redraw to do it. I think this is fine. Bauble. Painter's Servant. I'm just going to name some wacky color here. Everything's black? I think everything's black. I would like to paint it black. Okay. We'll name Wasteland, just kind of in a vacuum here. And then I'll, oh man. I would have floated my mana and then named the Verdant Catacombs that I just saw. That's sort of neat. Oh, okay. So we were playing against Reanimator. They don't get to take the Urza Saga that matters here. You can have my Opal. And we'll see if they can do something gross. It'll be... Okay. I would not have just, like, immediately won this game for needling a fetch land. Alright. Dark Ritual. Alright. Oh, oh, really? That's just what you got, huh? 2 mana currently? 2 mana currently? Yeah, this is fine. We'll go ahead and do this. There's a Karn. It's something. But the game will be over by the time that card is truly relevant. So I'm going to get hit for 3. I'll go to 13. Not that big of a deal. Just win next turn. I'll play a land. I guess I'll play this Distraction. Okay, my opponent is done with me. GG's. Yeah, because I just have the combo next turn. I have a decent amount of stuff for Reanimator. So I have 2 Surgicals, 3 Force of Negations, and 2 Fuck You targets, and 3 Ensnaring Bridges as well. I think I play those? We'll kind of see. So I don't need you. I don't need you. Pithing Needle is probably not better than Soul Guide Lantern and Grafdigger's Cage. I think this is a time where Pithing Needle itself is a fine card in this matchup, but, like, given that I have other Urza's Saga bullets, and that I want to, like, keep my ability to go fast, I think I want to just junk that. And then I need to get rid of some of this top-end stuff, because it's just, like, not going to be super relevant. I think I'm going to get rid of the Urzas for being hard to cast, especially if I board in Ensnaring Bridge. How's my blue count? This is 16. That's acceptable. I am going to board out the LED. And now it's a question of, do I want to play Ensnaring Bridge as well? My opponent will probably bring in any sort of like Serenity type effects that they have. So I don't know that Ensnaring Bridge is just a hard lock or anything, but it's probably pretty good. The question is like, what do I board out for them? They don't necessarily want to board out more blue cards because, you know, it just represents like the ability to pitch cast for Force of Wills and stuff. Maybe they're not relevant on the draw? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know. I can turn one it. Let's play bridge, board Karns out, and like board out one random bauble and call that good. I'm not obviously super confident about my sideboarding here. I'm gonna pitch this hand. It's fine, but I would much prefer to have some free interaction, especially on the draw, especially when my opponent keeps 7. Okay. This is a 5-card hand. I can keep double counter spells plus an Urza's Saga. That's not great. I think it's where I'm at. I don't think it's worth going deeper than this on the draw. But the Urza Saga also just represents something like a Grafdigger's Cage. So, like, this is even more interaction than it normally looks like. Alright, here's a Grief, pitching a Dark Ritual. I'm just going to let my opponent have that. They still have I will still have, like, a Force of Negation. Not going to give them 2 cards for their Grief when their Grief only gets 1. Okay, there goes my Force of Negation. That's tricky. I think I'm going to let that one go. They've already got the Grief in the graveyard. The Grief can already start pressuring me if they have a reanimation spell. Alright, there's an Archon. Oh my god. What a draw. Super stoked about that. Okay. Exhume. I will Force of Will and pitch a Thoughtcast for that. Yeah, they knew that trade was going to happen. I will play a new Urza Saga. And now they have to have like a double reanimate hand or a discard plus another reanimation spell. Yeah, honestly feel almost bad here. Almost bad. Alright. Load a mana with this one. Grafdigger's Cage versus Soul Guide Lantern. Soul Guide Lantern can get rid of the Archon, but leaves the Grief in there. I think I'm just going to grab the Cage. The Cage also stops the looting from the graveyard being flashed back. I am about to like run out of mana sources. Urza Saga is not a real land, like as games go long. Serenity fucking sucks because now it gets rid of whatever I do with this Urza Saga here. All right, so I'll float a mana. I guess I'm just exiling my opponent's graveyard. Yeah, I think that's just gotta happen. I'll exile your Archon of Cruelty. Do I want to leave the Grief in there? I don't think I want to leave the Grief in there. Junk those. I will play out an Ancient Tomb. My opponent trades Serenity for my Grafdigger's Cage, but now we're playing the top deck game, and I think I play the top deck game better than they do right now. Bobble is whatever. Opponent's about to draw an Unmask. That's fine. We'll take a card. A new Bobble. Not what I'm looking for. My opponent will probably at some point just like make a land drop and play that Unmask. Alright. Now the Bobble looks good. We get to go Sigh, play this, trigger, get a Thopter, and actually start getting something going. Yeah, Lotus Petal as your draw. Have at it. Ooh. I will also draw a Lotus Petal. My Lotus Petal makes a Thopter though. Oh, are you gonna unmask my Lotus Petal? They're not going to unmask my Lotus Petal. Alright. Pass this. 1 mana. Draw 2. Yeah. Opal. Do I want to sacrifice 2 things to draw a card? I don't think so, because my opponent has that unmask. I'll just bash in for 2. Opponent goes to 17. I could sacrifice, like... Okay. Well... First of all, rude. What's the wording on this? All artifacts? That's gonna be my land, too. Let's sacrifice my Lotus Petal and I guess Mox Opal here. Draw a card with that. Ah, Darksteel Citadel. Welcome, friend. I didn't really want a second one of you. Oh well. I'm getting some love taps in. Opponent goes to 13. I'll now sacrifice 2 Thopters. Force of Will, you are not on time. Alright, goodbye stuff. I guess I could have, like, thought about keeping my Opal for longer. Ooh. You have Entomb, or you're just gonna unmask me. That's fine. Yeah. I will play this sad little poke game for a little while. Go get him, Sai. I may get my opponent down to the point where they can't cast Literal Reanimate on something like an Archon of Cruelty. Alright. Thopter time. I don't think I'm going to randomly mill my opponent. Just not really feeling like that's a good idea for some reason. Do I want to mill myself? So many fucking Serenities, oh my god. No, I have plenty of stuff in graveyard. I don't really need to mill myself. Alright, so I won't play out that card. I'll save that for another turn. This hits my opponent to 9. Goodbye, Grindstone. Goodbye, 1 Thopter. Alright, so it looks like that's it for my opponent. This is a little wild, just in terms of a game. I'll cast my Grindstone as well, get the Thopters going. I don't think I am going to draw a card immediately. Oh? Sure. Do I want to draw a card now? Or do I want that 1 Thopter? Kind of weird. I also pretty safely could get rid of a Darksteel Citadel. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so I can't do it this turn, but this will give me hardcast Force of Negation in future turns as well. This also lets me sacrifice both Thopters to draw a card if my opponent casts something that I absolutely have to Force of Negation. Ooh, that's not bad. I'll bash in here. Puts my opponent to 5. I think I'd cast this Ensnaring Bridge. I can still attack with my 1/1s here. I think that that probably puts the nail in the coffin. I can also just sacrifice the Ensnaring Bridge whenever I want. Okay, and there's the concession. GG's. I think we're up to 2-1 now? Yes. Alright, my opening hand here seems like it has a lot of gas. I'll be keeping this one. Hello, big fan. Good luck. You're in a video for next week. Can't wait to misplay on camera. Don't worry, I do it all the time. Seriously though, playing Magic while recording is hard. It's just one of those things where you don't realize how much energy you're spending doing little recording things. Because it doesn't seem like much. But then, like, I'm over here, like, monitoring my voice levels and volume and stuff while I'm doing it. It adds up. Alright, so I'm always playing Opal. I'm always playing Bauble. And then I have a real choice as to, like, what I do next. I could play Seat to turn on Opal. The question of, like, do I want Emery this turn or do I want Thoughtcast this turn? I guess I don't want to be Wastelanded. Yeah, I guess Wasteland's kind of a big deal right now. So let's do this one. Go blue. I think I want to play the Emery first. It just represents a few more looks at, like, a Painter's Servant. Did not hit. This is cast. Yeah, it's cast. Okay, so I just whiffed, so I'll probably want to just use my Bauble here. Opponent's drawing a Savannah. Or at least looking at a Savannah, rather. Sylvan Library makes things kind of weird. Ooh, it looks like opponent is gonna... Oh, they drank deep from the well that is Sylvan Library. Okay, sure. I guess Endurance is a thing that can happen. Get rid of my Bauble. Sure. Alright, so basically I'm hoping to combo off relatively quickly, because I'm not so much beating a Merit Lodge in game 1. So let's play this Bauble. Brings my artifact count up to 4, meaning that I can Thoughtcast for 1 mana. We'll start here. None of those cards are named Painter's Servant, unfortunately. Now if I want to Thoughtcast again, I do have to play a land. Let's just play the artifact land. Dig deeper. Alright, those were like the same cards I just drew. So we will play out a bunch of baubles. I guess I just filter all three immediately. A Bojuka Bog. Never mind, I guess I don't filter all three immediately. Yeah, because I am going to want to keep a couple of these around for later. I had a couple lands on top of my library, by the way. So I milled 4 lands, and I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other lands. It's a wee bit rough. I do have 2 more redraws sitting on the board, though. So there is that. Okay. That's scary times. So these 2 lands represent a Dark Depths coming into play tapped. I am probably dead next turn. Or, rather, my opponent probably makes Merit Lodge on their next turn, meaning that I am dead the following turn. Okay, Sylvan Safekeeper. I like that one so much. We're going to look at it twice. There it is. Beautiful. All right. Force of Will. Oh my god. What the fuck did I do to deserve this? Okay. Okay. Cool. I guess I will play a seat. I will, okay, you just drew your Bojuka Bog though, right? Okay. Pass this. And then you're gonna go for end of turn, activate the Reclaimer. Oh, shoot. I wanna... Oh, actually, no, I do want to hold this, don't I? Yeah, I think I want to hold this so it doesn't get, like, main phase Bojuka Bogged. By the way, from here, I'm probably just going to skip over the Sylvan Library and kind of, like, assume that you know that that's happening at this point. Save some, recording time. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, it isn't fine, though, is it? Because now if I draw Painter, I don't have Painter plus Grindstone activate. That's not great. Guess I could have played out double Island over the course of this game rather than Seat to avoid that exact situation. Oh. Oh, that's their library. That's not my library. I got excited for a second. All right, I draw LED and Karn. I needed Painter. Do I have any outs via a Karn? I can play Karn, play LED plus Karn. My opponent gives me the card that I don't want. Even if it's Painter, I can't Painter plus Grindstone. Actually, I can. I just recycle the LED. Okay. Kind of fucked up. I'll go land, LED. This phrase that's put in hand, right? Put in hand. Yep. I play Karn. I will crack this LED. I will plus Karn. I need to hit, like, double Painter here, or something equally stupid. That is a Painter's Servant. I've been given an Emery, unfortunately. I mean, I guess I play this Emery. I don't think I'm on outs. Keep this Emery. Okay. I'll target a Pithing Needle. If you wanna like do anything in response, please don't. They have figured it out. Okay. What are we naming with Pithing Needle in that case? I think we name Dead Gone. Dead Drop? Dead Drop's pretty good. We'll concede there. Alright. We have Ensnaring Bridges for this matchup. That's basically it. Force of Negation is playable. Hydroblast might be good enough here. I do kind of want to just be able to blow up my opponent's lands specifically. Force of Negation's whatever. My opponent can cast stuff on my own end step a lot of the time, which kind of decreases its power. I can make a surprising number of Flying Idiots with this deck between, like, Retrofitter, Foundries, and Size. I think I'm going to trim Urza's. All of these targets have text here. Like, Pithing Needle is obvious. Retrofitter Foundry can make flyers. Shadow Spear can get me to above 21. Or rather, above 20, I guess. I think I'm going to cut the LED here. think these games are going to go pretty long rather than just be like absolute races. Then I would need 2 other cuts if I want to board in all this stuff. Maybe some of this stuff. Forces are fine, but my opponent can just make land drops and kill me that way. I cut like 1 force, 1 Thoughtcast. I think I like the Karns as just a way to create a lot of pressure and just kill my opponent quickly. This hand doesn't do anything. Yeah, this hand does shit. Absolutely. What goes back? Saga. Turn 1 is Saga, Opal, Petal, Pithing Needle. I suppose I could just make my 3 land drops as well. I don't necessarily need the Petal. Yeah, I'll just keep more land drops here. Play my Saga. Now, I could just name Wasteland here rather than Thespian Stage. I honestly kind of like it since I just have a turn 3 Goldfish. Fuck me. Cool, cool. So do I concede now, or like do we pretend like there's a game here? I think I'll pretend like there's a game here. Okay. That is actually incredibly good. All right. So we have Bobble and Needle in there as things that I can do. Yeah, we're still in this. Okay. More than 1 non-creature, so I can still Painter and do something else. That's fine. We'll do this. Everything's red. Everything's definitely not green. Everything's red. Target Pithing Needle. Play the Pithing Needle. And then naming is actually a little hard here. I could like name the Elvish Reclaimer that's actively in play. That is kind of a pain in the butt. Or I could just like name Wasteland, or I could just name Thespian Stage. I think I'm just going to name Thespian Stage. I think the longer this drags on, the more favored I am. But I just get like an extra card draw every turn off of the Bobble. I can't vomit things into play because of Deafening Silence, but all I'm doing is looking for a Grindstone and enough mana to activate it. Okay, that's a Dryad Arbor. Okay. This Opal's not doing anything. Do I want to play this Emery and dig 4 deep? Or do I just want to recycle a Bobble? I think I'll just recycle a Bobble. I think I'm good with just calling that my turn. And, ooh, Prismatic Ending is quite good. One doesn't have a lot of mana for it currently, but it's good. Let's see what I get. Ooh, I have found a Grindstone. We'll see what my opponent does with this Prismatic Ending that they just drew. Like, there's a lot of things they can do with it. Like, I have 3 and maybe a half permanents that are kind of annoying here. All right. Okay, they're not doing anything with that. They're just holding up mana. Land? That is very much not a land. So I can just hold this. I can just hold this until I get my 4th mana source. This Deafening Silence is keeping me from having a kill via like Mox Opal into Grindstone here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take another card and try to surprise my opponent with this Grindstone. Let's do the Bobble thing again. I'm gonna give priority to my opponent here, because I think they're gonna activate this. Alright, there goes the Dryad Arbor. I'm just gonna see what the top card of their library is after they've shuffled. Alright, they're just doing the Flagstones thing. A Sylvan Library. That is quite good for them. I'll take my draw. Okay, yeah, so that's theoretical lethal. We'll see, though. Like, my opponent very easily could just cast a Prismatic Ending and fuck with me. Okay. They did not. Ancient Tomb. Do not need to play that currently. Just have the mana required to do my stuff as is. Alright. Play my land. Okay, it is a Swords to Plowshares. That is happening. So I have cast a non-creature. I cast the Grindstone, so that'll just be my turn. And I will start milling myself looking for a Painter. My opponent has Prismatic Ending that they can just use on my Grindstone. They can also use it on the Pithing Needle, like, or my Emery for that matter. Like or I guess they can't on the Emery. They only have 2 colors of mana currently. But they have options. I'm gonna see if my opponent remembers to bounce my Emery after I Grindstone myself. I assume they will. Oh, oh, yeah, okay. Of course it will. Yeah, honestly, legendary creature situation ain't great. It ain't great. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do just have a mana to spare to play this and still be able to hard cast a Force of Will. Okay. We got a bunch of crap off the top of the library. So this is going to junk the flagstones and presumably search for a Thespian stage. Oh. Just a Savannah. Okay. Nope, sorry. That was wrong order. So that the flagstones got the Savannah, and then this got the Elvish Reclaimer activation got the Thespian stage. Now I will just Force of Will my opponent's Prismatic Ending. Okay, they are playing so incredibly conservatively with this Prismatic Ending. Alright, I am at 20. Starting the Pithing Needle. I say no. It's unclear whether or not I should take the 1 extra damage to, like, not pitch an Emery here, when my Emerys are just going to get bounced by Karakas anyway. Alright. Not the best. I have 35 cards remaining in my deck. At some point, I need to start thinking about, like, cards in my deck and, like, tutor targets and stuff off Urza Saga and, like, not play the Emery. I also could start trying to just mill my opponent out manually. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop playing my Emery. Like, I don't want to mill over my final Ensnaring Bridge, for example. Like, that's a card I very much would like to draw. Okay. 3, 4, Force of Vigor? Green Sun for 3. Potentially something like an Endurance. I guess it could also be like Ramunap Excavator. Regardless, it's happening. A Night of Autumn. That junks my Pithing Needle. Sure, I'm gonna... No, I guess I don't want to Grindstone you, because you still haven't hit 3 lands in Graveyard, miraculously. Yeah. Another Emery. Oh joy. So this is 1, 2 mana, activate, idiot, kill me. Rough. And that is the match there. GG's. Alright, so it looks like we are playing against Yori and D&T again. I have a relatively good Urza Saga hand that gets to Pithing Needle Wasteland. I think I'm going to go ahead and just keep that. Okay. So, Urza Saga... Play Petal out now in case my opponent, like, gets real weird and plays a Thalia on turn 1 somehow. And Pithing Needle Wasteland. I'm going to make a couple of constructs off Urza Saga, followed up with an Urza at some point in the not-too-distant future after that. It is just going to be a strong start. Alright, so no Aether Vial or anything from my opponent early on here. Fine. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to play Ancient Tomb. Like, whether or not this Lotus Petal sitting in play matters. Kind of matters. Not a lot, but it kind of matters. I think I'm just going to play the Ancient Tomb. I think I'm going to end up with a Shadow Spear. I haven't, like, 100% decided what I'm doing with my tutoring. Okay. Sure. Unfortunately, since my Pithing Needle is in play, I can't actually answer that Stoneforge by just searching up Needle. Jitte. That's sort of a wild choice. Unless they already have, like, both Batterskull and Cauldra in hand. I mean, which realistically could be the case. Force of Will. Kind of whatever. Alright, so I'll get another Construct, turning these into 4/4s. Yeah, I think I'm going to grab Shadow Spear. I think I'll just play a new Urza Saga and go for my equip here. It still attacks as a 5/5 this turn. And it rebuys all of the life that I've lost from Ancient Tomb and then some. Alright. Got an okay amount of life. I have a counterspell for something cool that my opponent does. And I can try to just kind of beat out this Cauldra by creating 1 lethal attack that just kills my opponent in a single swing. Okay, Emery is solid. Yep. I'll just play that. See what we hit. I've hit a Painter Servant. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah, so now I'm just going to win this game on the combo side of the equation rather than the aggro side. Am I playing around Cauldra even though my opponent didn't fetch it? I think I am. Alright. Yep. That's fine. You can have Retrofitter Foundry. I am good with you having jump blockers. Like, this is being saved for something that keeps me from just winning the game next turn. They get Grindstone off of Urza Saga. Yeah, that can eat a Force of Will. Yeah, their Cauldron can't attack, or they take too much on the crackback. I will make another construct. Oh, LED is insane as a draw. Okay, so I Emery, get Painter's Servant. That costs me this. And then I just go for the win afterwards. That's fine. Why didn't I get ported? Okay, you're just going to try to put in like a Jitte or a Batterskull or something? Sure. I will pick up a Grindstone. Play a land. An LED. Emery, target Painter's Servant. Yeah, and that's the concession. Yeah, we also just could have like straight up just like attacked through and potentially just killed through a Cauldron. You know, Cauldron blocks this big one and then there's still 18 more damage incoming. Like I very much could have just played this game a little longer and tried to set up like a fourth construct instead of just going for the win that turn. All right, I boarded in some amount of these before. Again, those Torpor Orbs that I talked about in the deck tech are absolutely insane in this matchup. Force is medium, Thoughtcast is medium. The legendary creatures have some downsides, but relatively speaking are probably fine. Could play around Spirit of the Labyrinth a little bit by going down on Thoughtcasts. I think I'll do that. I think I undervalued Force of Will previously, but this is a really low blue count for Force of Will. Like, this is 13 blue cards. I just have so many artifacts. Force of Will is also something that gets stuck in hand and makes Ensnaring Bridge worse. Kind of a bad top deck in a lot of situations. I'm not super comfortable with how I want to sideboard here. Like, Dismember is absolutely fine. I don't know. Maybe my blue count just gets so low that I just, like, can't do this. And I need to stick with more of this sort of stuff instead. But having some Force of Will to have an answer to Cauldron on the draw, other than just the Dismembers and the Bridges, is a thing, too. I don't know. Maybe I'm also, like, not supposed to play the Bridges because, like, dragging the game on just gives my opponents, like, Yorian bullshit time to do stuff. I'm going to mulligan this hand. This hand doesn't do anything. This hand has a turn 3 Goldfish if I draw a land. That's fine. I don't think it's overly impressive. I'm going to throw back the Sai here. My hand is kind of easy to disrupt, which I don't love, but you can't have it all. That Urza's not doing a lot for me here. This Urza Saga, though, is doing plenty. Absolutely going to take redraws here. I'm going to take 2 looks at a Force of Will rather than get a little more information about like what my opponent's subsequent card after this Plains would be. All right, no Force of Will. Okay, that's awful for me. At least my opponent didn't follow up with like a top decked Ether Vial. I guess they couldn't have done a top decked Ether Vial, right? Like I just knew what their top card was. Yeah, we'll just get this going again. Okay, my opponent's got an Urza Saga of their own, which represents a Pithing Needle. A Pithing Needle that I don't think I can actually take off the table. So next turn, I will have 3 mana. Well, yeah, I'll have 3 mana plus 1 other land. I'm just thinking about what land I want to play. I think it has to be Ancient Tomb, because there's a lot of worlds where like my Painter Servant just gets removed, and then what I want to do changes quite a bit. I could also just make a Construct token this turn, rather than play the Painter and go for the quickest possible win. Oh, that's actually tough. Yeah, let's drag this game on. Like, my opponent didn't play a threat immediately. I don't know, there's the Pithing Needle, though. I don't know. Like, maybe because I know the Pithing Needle's incoming, I'm just, like, not supposed to play into a situation where I can just get disrupted once and then my opponent has an absolute stranglehold on the game. Yeah, okay, I buy that. Cathar Commando. Sure. You're gonna blow up my Urza Saga. That's fine. Obviously good. Not the end of the world for me. Like, I'm gonna have the body in play that my opponent doesn't. Alright. So this becomes a 3/3. Do I want Urza or Karn? If I play Karn, it might get Pithing Needled. Which, my opponent Pithing Needling that is actually good for me. I think I'm going to do that and kind of treat this as bait. I'll bash my opponent for 4. Alright, 16 all. We'll see what my opponent does with their Urza's Saga here. Because they are going to have a lot of options for, like, what to Pithing Needle. Assuming they do get Pithing Needle. Okay, they do. But now I have that, like, backdoor route to victory open of, like, just top decking a Grindstone at any point. Alright. Battle. My stuff is bigger. Land. Urza. That trigger means these are 7/7s. I will dismember those. No, I was about to tap both of my things using Urzas to make them 8/8s and get lethal. You didn't let me kill you the way I wanted to kill you. Overall thoughts on the deck list? Good. I really liked the size that I added to the deck. They gave me some card draw in situations that were tough. They gave me some chump blockers. They gave me things that I could immediately turn into 4/4s via Retrofitter Foundry. I think that was a good addition. There's some little things around the edges here that I think can be changed. I don't know how good the Hydroblasts are. Like, they're obviously just like blasts in a painter deck, but if you look, like, I have a lot of colorless lands, and I was somewhat frequently boarding out the Urzas just because, like, they were blue. And there's some tension here with, like, the actual blue count that's in the deck. I do kind of want those Torpor Orbs that I was talking about in the deck after, like, watching the Death and Taxes match. Like, that's a popular deck that's pretty strong because it's good against Blue-Red Delver. And, like, if that deck is that popular, like, maybe I don't want Ensnaring Bridges, maybe I want Torpor Orbs, because those also have overlap with Doomsday, which is another very popular deck. Yeah, I liked this a lot, and I liked the changes that I made. The Lion's Eye Diamond that I added was, like, definitely relevant to a couple of our lines. And honestly, this was really close to a 4-1. I don't remember what it was, but there was some fuckery where I got, like, double solituded after trying to go off 2 turns in a row versus Death and Taxes that kept us from that 4-1. I felt good about this. Would absolutely play it again, and would want to start tinkering with the sideboard a little bit and refining that a little bit. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. If you made it to this point in the video, please throw me a like before you go. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. I wouldn't ask if it didn't matter. And if you want to get one of your own decks on the channel, or you want to try this one out, check out the video description for that information. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!